Well, hello, YouTube, and hey, it is January 2026. I am sharing a photo of a young lady. This was taken back in 1986, and this is a woman who wasn't really focusing on New Year's resolutions. In fact, this photo was taken at almost the end of 1986 because she was due with her first child in December of that year. Thought she was going to have a Christmas baby and wound up not having that baby until 1987. This is me. At that time, I had been a runner, I cycled, I was very active, and when I found myself expecting my first child, I spiraled and got up to a ridiculous weight of 180 pounds. I was 5'8" at the time. I have shrunk since then. Here we are in 2026. I am 60 years old, and my weight is much closer to the running weight that I had in high school. I'm sharing this because I am a health educator. I am someone who works in alternative health. I have been working in the field of health since 1996. Now, after my son was born, here I am still focusing on getting that weight off while taking care of my son. I was a housewife, and one thing that worked for me, besides actually going back to portion control, I went into Weight Watchers. That was a popular weight loss program at the time, and it gave me some foundations, some tools, though the aspect that I was really missing was maximizing my fitness and also looking at the fact that I was simply eating the wrong foods. Now, since I work in the field of health and education right now, I spent the last 2 months, November and December in 2025, not only setting my own health goals for the year. I practice New Year's resolutions. They work for me. There's something that I have found successful over the years. And in my job, I am a home visitor. If you're unfamiliar with this, it is a global phenomenon. I am in Utah, and home visiting is something that is accessible to a number of people. And the families that I work with have young children under the age of 5. And one of the requirements in my job as a home visitor is that we set goals. Now, at this time of year, a lot of people had either financial goals, health-related goals, fitness-related goals, weight loss goals. With each of those families, I encourage them, especially if they found themselves in a place where goals weren't motivating for them. They seemed daunting, they hadn't worked in the past, and they didn't want to set another goal, especially with someone who, I work for a county health department. They're seeing me as the outsider, someone that's not relatable. I am much older, and though there's a relationship, a partnership happening, it takes time to build that trust and to build the confidence that what I have to offer is relatable and applicable in their world. I encourage them to take on a couple of goals that are highly achievable, ones that were a bit relatable, and ones that I've been practicing every January for a number of years. One is a home detox. This is simply a declutter challenge. Now, after the holidays, regardless of whatever holiday you might be celebrating in December, people tend to have the excess wrapping paper, perhaps it's holiday decorations. It's dark, it's cold outside, maybe, wherever you are. It's cold where I am, not as much as I wish it was. The detox challenge that I found, it came about a number of years ago, and this little handout, I shared it in another video. I'll put it in the description below. It's from a website called Clean and Sensible, and it's a really easy challenge. It lists room by room for all 31 days of January. You set your timer for 15 minutes. You go down the list and declutter, tidy up, organize. And I found it really stimulating. It was doable. It was helpful. It was fun. And inevitably, I wound up spending a lot more time than the 15 minutes. There were certainly times, since I have a really small, humble home, I don't have a front entry mudroom. So as I went down the list and found that, okay, well, this doesn't apply to my little space, there's free for all. Do what you want. That's the beauty of a piece of paper and something generic like this. Customize it and make it your own. So this is one of the two challenges that I shared with a number of my families that felt like, oh, goal, she's going to tell me to do this, do that. No, no, no. That's not what home visiting is about. My program that I work for is about empowering. It's about building a partnership and a teamwork approach. And that is what has worked for me in my life as I have sought either a coach or a guide, a counselor, a healthcare provider. I want that teamwork approach. I want to feel heard. I want to feel seen, and I want someone to listen to me. This home detox is something that was well received, and not all of the families that I work with jumped on board, though many of them thought, well, I can do that. So great. They can achieve a goal. And that's part of my work, part of my job. And it was a win-win for both of us. The other one was that I have been practicing a mental health freedom technique. It's called EFT. It's also known as tapping. Now, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Brad Yates is the guru that I follow. I was introduced to this technique when I was in college, and it was during a mind-body healing course that the professor actually taught another method called neuro-linguistic programming. And it's a similar technique where you're tapping on certain points of the body and saying positive affirmations with each point. Now, Brad Yates has an amazing website. I will also put that in the description below. And on New Year's Day, he had a free tap into a magnificent new year. I also shared that with a lot of my families who were dealing with things like depression, sensory overload, feeling really overwhelmed, fatigue. And the tapping is a very non-intrusive, non-invasive, very supportive method that anyone can do. When I participated on January 1st, and it was at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and the replay is available on YouTube, you can check that out. It was so liberating and supportive, and I appreciate that Brad Yates and other people on YouTube are sharing such powerful, just amazing ways to better take care of ourselves. Now, when I go back to this time here, this would have been 1987. There was no internet. There was no no readily free available gurus out there who were going to guide and support me. I relied on things like my doctor, the the library, which is still out there. If you're not using your library card, please do so. There are so many educational tools out there, and now with the internet, with our phones, with all of the gadgets that we have, the education and support out there is readily available. And back to that sensory overload. That's where a lot of my families and people that are much younger than me feel that they're getting stuck and not knowing what to trust, who to follow, what to look at, and can often get stuck. The term doom scrolling was recently introduced to me. Now, again, I'm 60 years old, and I have not always been a fan of technology. There was certainly a time in my life as a young adult when I was a single parent after I got divorced and busy working multiple jobs and parenting my son that I didn't even own a television, and I honestly didn't miss it. I feel honestly quite lucky that I was raised in a time where I started out with just having a black and white TV when I was a kid. Then we had the console television, and there were only 3 channels. Having access to screen time was something that, as a kid, I earned, and that was monitored and guided and only available when mom or dad turned the TV on and we were told it was okay to watch, and then it was off or it was time to go to bed. That that set a different foundation for me, a very different way of being raised versus now. And when I became a parent, then having the screen time, it shifted again. And getting rid of a television when I was a young parent, for me it freed up space, because when I got divorced and I didn't have a lot of room, I didn't want to have a TV in the way. I didn't see the purpose for it. And I wanted to have fun with my son. I wanted to take him to the park. I wanted to have access to the swimming pool if I was living in an apartment complex that had that. There were a number of things that I wanted us to share together that were more activity based, game based, and even a coloring book, things like that, where having a screen wasn't a priority. Now, when we did have a screen, and certainly I didn't, it's not as if my son never had access to watching a television. He had that with his dad, with his grandparents, with cousins, that he was, readily, he had all of that readily available to him. And my ex-husband and I also wanted to monitor screen time, because that's how we were raised, is that was something that you earned. There were chores, there were things to do in our day. When I was in the midst of losing all of that weight that I had gained during my pregnancy, I came across some workouts that you would do during commercial breaks. Now, commercials have always annoyed me. I don't like commercial radio. I don't like commercial television. And now that I'm, watching a lot more things on YouTube or any other streaming device, the commercials drive me nuts. When I was a child, I noticed that my mom, whenever there was a commercial break, she would get up and go do something, whether it was, a bathroom break or wash the dishes, or go down and check on the laundry, those type of things. So I had that image in my mind over and over and over again as a child, that when a commercial came on, it was your opportunity to get up and go do something else. And then whoever was still in the room would say, hey, the show's back on, and then come back. So I also found myself, and even my brother, that we would get up and go do something. We'd go to our room or get a snack or play with the dogs or go outside, whatever the case may be. And having that in my brain as a young mom, then whenever I did have a television, or we were at my grandma's or someplace where we were watching a program together, then with my son, of course, as children want to play. That's how children learn, is through active play. And that is another component that I've been sharing with the young families that I see in my home visiting role, is that with the enormous amount of screen time that they have available to them, and there are great tools out there that help parents with educating their child, with even playing with their child. And we're also taught that before age 3, screen time should be minimal, because of how it impacts a child's brain, how it can impact learning and language. And as adults, as young adults, we know that excess screen time, the light, the blue light, even if you have the filters, all that type of thing, there is a problem when we have too much screen time. So I came across, this was a reminder of something that I put together just on my own, wanting to do exercises during commercial breaks when my son was small, and I wanted to get rid of that weight. So when there would be a commercial, I would put him on my shoulders or put him on my back, do push-ups, lunges, all those type of things. And it took me back to when I was playing sports in school. I thought about all of the calisthenics, all of the different routines that we would do in preparing for whether it was volleyball or track, basketball, all of the warm-ups that I did in physical fitness classes as a child. I just reinvented those as a young mom and incorporated my son because he was the added weight and the opportunity. My son thought it was fun. We would laugh and have fun together, and he would encourage me. And it's like, if you think about, say, if your dad or grandpa or mom, dad, whoever, would put you on their back and you ride around and pretend like there's the horse or whatever, any of those type of things that you're doing with your child, that's an opportunity for not only the bonding, though it's the movement, it's the support, and it's a way to exercise and get some more fitness into your day. Now, I recently came across this handout. So this is like a new and improved, and I will put the link to this. It's a free PDF that I just found on a random Google search, and it's called the Commercial Break Workout with Mary. And it's just a way to, in here it says, for every 1/2 hour TV show, there's about 12 minutes of commercial time. Now, it would be interesting to me to think about any YouTube videos that you watch. I have a mini elliptical in my living room. And so if I'm ever watching a favorite content creator, for example, I follow Vegas Matt. I like to gamble, even though I live in Utah where gambling is illegal. I travel to border states, and I like, playing a slot machine and things. And I thoroughly enjoy that Vegas Matt channel. And that might not be your thing, but whatever content creator or television show, whatever series that you're streaming right now, there are going to be ads, unless you're paying for another service that removes those ads. And even if you are, so why not take advantage of that time where you're staring at the screen and you incorporate fitness, incorporate some movement, especially something where if you have kids at home still, or you're a caretaker and you have an older adult, whatever their mobility is, whatever their limitations, their capabilities are, I completely understand. I have been a caregiver, and now I am my own caregiver because I've been an empty nester for a long time. And there was a period during 3 really life-changing surgeries that I was using a walker, and I had to be able to find workouts that I could do just sitting from a chair. There's any number now with YouTube, with any online service right now, you can find so many great fitness routines for free, or choose some that are more applicable for your body, your state of well-being, your state of health, and things that you enjoy. Now, with, these are really simple ones. There's you could do a jumping jack. You could do just a, a very gentle jumping jack. There's things like toe presses, heel flex. That the movement is what this is about, especially if you think about just doing an activity like this with your child and making a game out of it, singing a silly song. And with my son, as he got a little older, then the game was that with advertisements, we see the same things over and over again, whether it's the car commercial, the insurance commercial, the food commercial, whatever the case may be. So the game was that if it was a repeat, then there was a certain exercise that was related to, oh, there's a food commercial, so now we're going to do squats. Or, oh, here's a car commercial, so we're going to run in place. Whatever the case may be, whatever calls to you, it's so customizable. This, after I lost weight and then let me go back here. So became single mom, and it took a period of time since I got married right out of high school, and my whole upbringing led me to that I was going to be a wife, a mom, housewife, and I had some business experience in accounting, and that's where I had part-time jobs during high school, and certainly took that skill into my life as a young mom. And then later felt inspired and encouraged, because I certainly, it wasn't common for women in my family to be college educated. In fact, it was discouraged. And I found the courage to put myself through college. And I'm so glad I did. And it took me a long time, because I didn't receive my degree until I turned 40. And that's when my son was graduating high school. So my life has taken a little bit different, non-traditional path, and that's okay. And that experience has given me the opportunity to meet other people where they are, to be that active listener, and know that we all have our own unique journey. We have our own path to live. And however you have found yourself here today, and perhaps you are tired of being stuck on that wheel of, okay, it's another year. I want to feel better. I want to sleep more soundly. I want to better manage pain. I want to have more fun with my kids. I want to be outdoors more often. Wanting to lose weight. Whatever the case may be, there are supportive tools out there for you that are customizable. And one that I have put together, and I'm going to offer another free PDF below, is some of the foundational tools that I have been living by since the mid to late 1990s. And that is when my life took a dramatic turn, and I wanted to invest more in my health. I saw too many family members who were literally dying, and a lot of the diseases and lifestyle, well, it all boiled down to lifestyle. That my parents were both really heavy smokers, and I have asthma. And one of the things that helped me to better manage asthma was simply getting married and moving out of their house, because they had no interest, no desire, no intention of ever quitting smoking, regardless of how that impacted my health. And that isn't a woe is me. It was a very different time, a different place, and people choose those behaviors, and then they get sucked into a dangerous addiction, which is a whole other topic. What I wanted to do as a young mom then, as I learned more about the field of health and how I could actually educate myself, was to be a better parent and to be a better role model, and to show my son that I could practice better health behaviors and help to empower him. Becoming a parent is a humbling experience. For those of you out there who are parents, you understand what I mean in that. And perhaps it's even just a pet parent, whoever you're caring for, whoever you are most responsible for. And perhaps you're in my position, you're an older adult and now have this solo period of aging that I have honestly found quite liberating. And I now have time to truly invest in my health and truly care for myself. Take the opportunity to look at my foundational tools. The PDF that I'll put below are my 3 key concepts for improved health. Now, on December 4th of last year, now this is a limited edition print copy. This is something that I promoted on Utah Authors Day on the first weekend of December. This is an ebook, so I've condensed everything and created a customizable workbook that you could take my 3 foundational tools, and they're simple and they are customizable, which is your role then to look at those and apply them to your own life. That's something that it's almost too easy and not productive to say, oh, here's what I do, you should do that. I don't like know-it-alls. I don't like people who have a uppity approach and look at me and think, oh, well, you're doing that wrong. I wouldn't do it that way. Here's what I do. Okay, well, thank you. That attitude and that type of dialogue shuts the conversation down as far as I'm concerned. It certainly has never worked for me. I don't like to project that onto anyone else. That's where these concepts, which are to soothe, that is how I manage my chronic pain. I nourish. Food is medicine in my world. And I rest. And rest, it's connected to soothe, though rest is different, because rest, in order to ensure that I receive quality sleep, that I sleep soundly, that I am fully rejuvenating and taking advantage of this vessel. Our bodies are intelligent. We have an inner physician. When I rest, I do so by moving every day in however way that is accessible and whatever I'm able to do at a certain period in my life. I have been very ill in my life. I have faced life-threatening illness. I have been in terrific health. I feel for a 60-year-old woman that I am strong and I am mobile, I'm independent, and I want to keep it that way. And that means that I respect and I understand and I know how to customize. And I have done that by setting these foundational tools, working with my healthcare providers, and having that teamwork approach. That's where my job as a health educator, as a coach, as an alternative healthcare provider, it's about that give and take, about listening, about knowing that you have a very unique life. And there are things that we share as human beings. There are things that are very, very unique to wherever you're at in your life right now. And this guide, I will put the little 2-page handout that gives you the basics of it. It's also on my website, andersontherapeutics.com. The website went live in 2016, and it came about at a time when I had survived the life-threatening illness I talked about earlier. I became bionic, and I went through this transformation in my mid-40s where I was an empty nester and I thought I was, on my way and had this active life ahead of me, and boom. That's what happens sometimes in our life. And perhaps it happened for you early on. Perhaps it has been that never-ending cycle. And that's where we can take control as adults, as consenting adults, working with people who have our best interest at heart, and creating a wellness, curate a wellness playlist that fits you where you're at right now. And that's what I have designed and put together, and I invite you to join me on this journey to improved health, because it's never too late, and you can implement just one thing today. Maybe it's just taking on a commercial break workout, or taking on your detoxing and your decluttering here in January. Or if you've watched this far, thank you for watching. Check out the other videos on my channel. I share all sorts of meal planning ideas, ways I manage chronic pain. That's another thing that's available for free on my website, and how to just better manage my budget. Healthcare costs in the US are ridiculous. And as I am moving forward and I am aging gracefully, I'm going to age with dignity and grace, that I invite you to join me and participate fully. Participate fully. I invite you to do that. Check out everything in the description below. Leave a comment. What are you facing? Are your challenges? What are your successes, your hopes, your dreams for 2026? And if you want an extra special treat, on the full moon, I channeled Reiki. My life in alternative healthcare is that I am a Reiki master teacher. I received my attunements in 2009, and I have taken this also into this YouTube platform. This is a new thing for me. I am not a techie, though I am learning so much, and I am happy to be here. Thank you again so much for watching. Give this a like if it was useful for you, and I hope to see you again.